And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, Britain breaks free of the European Union, sending shockwaves all across the world. Now, in a historic 52 to 48% vote, the people of the United Kingdom chose to take back their national sovereignty in a strong rebuke against the global ruling elite. Earlier today, while visiting his golf course in Scotland, Donald Trump praised the decision. Let's take a look.
People want to take their country back. They want to have independence in a sense, and you see it with Europe, all over Europe. You're going to have more than just, in my opinion, more than just what happened last night. You're going to have, I think, many other cases where they want to take their borders back, they want to take their monetary back, they want to take a lot of things back. I really do see a parallel between what's happening in the United States and what's happening here. People want to see borders. They don't necessarily want people pouring into their country that they don't know who they are and where they come from. They've taken back their independence, and that's a very, very important thing.
And here with reaction is former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, before I get to anything, it's interesting that the president, like he tried to weigh in on the Israeli election, tried to weigh in here and say, "Oh, we're going to put you in the back of the queue. We're going to put you in the back of the bus." And he kind of reiterated that today. I want you to hear how he tried to impact this.
Say that maybe some point down the line there might be a UK-US trade agreement, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because our focus is in negotiating with a big bloc, the European Union, to get a trade agreement done. And UK is going to be in the back of the queue.
They're going to be in the back of the queue. Well, apparently not. Why would you say that to one of our closest allies, though? And Hillary, I think, is sharing that position.
Well, I think this is a much bigger decision than people realize. This is really a major setback for the whole Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Kerry internationalist view of the world, that every nation is the same. America, there's nothing special about America. We should all have an international view of everything. And this is a rejection by a group of independent people, the British people. After all, we have some ties to them, right? And they've basically said the EU has screwed things up so badly, following basically Clinton and Obama policies, right?
Right.
That we don't want to be part of it. You know, we're a country that comes from Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher, not from Karl Marx.
Yeah.
And we believe in hard work, and we believe in individualism. And I think the British people made a very, very heroic stand with a tremendous effort against it. I mean, the effort against it was unbelievable. And I think they reflect something that is going on in America. I think Americans are saying, we are an exceptional country. We are an exceptional people. We're not just part of some kind of big European Union and everybody else can tell us what to do. We're not going to lead from behind. We want to assert our principles because we believe our principles can help the rest of the world.
You know, here's an interesting political point, because Bernie Sanders said today that globalism, this proves globalism is not working. Now, one of the reasons that I think Donald Trump is resonating with blue-collar workers in Pennsylvania and in Michigan and Wisconsin, Ohio, has to do with the fact that so much of our manufacturing centers have been sent abroad. Companies are leaving. Americans are losing jobs. Illegal immigrants are competing for the jobs that are available, driving down wages.
Right.
How big a part did immigration and the Islamization of Europe, do you think, play in the vote of the British people?
So I think a couple of things really played in that vote. I just came back from Israel this morning, and I was in Germany 2 weeks ago, and I've been in Europe quite a bit in the last 3 or 4 months. And this thing was going the other way about 4 months ago, meaning it was going in the way of Remain. First of all, I think we can't discount what happened here in the United States in Orlando. That resonated in Europe because it reminded them of Brussels and Paris. And although the administration did everything they could to try to downplay the Islamic terrorist part of this, the Brits got it because they're people of common sense, right? They saw the same vulnerability. Number two, I think that the idea that they're basically going to have to support countries that will not work more than 30 or 35 hours a week, like Greece, like Italy, which is on vacation for about a third of the year. I think,
by the way, it sounds appealing on the surface, but I don't think it runs an economy very well.
No, not if I'm working 50 weeks a year.
I'm working 80 hours.
And you're working 30, right? And I'm paying for you, and the money's coming out of my family, right?
Right.
So we're talking about very practical people. The British people are very practical, sensible people, and so are we. And I think that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing here. I think the American people realize that this global view of the world that Obama embraces, that Hillary embraces, that Bernie Sanders embraces. We should be like just like every other country. We're not
actually,
just like
Bernie. No, I know, but Bernie's on the other side. Here's a question I have. In the last 2 years, our Census Bureau says we brought in 3 million immigrants in this country, legal and illegal. So my question is, how much do you think immigration played a part in this vote? And also, how much did Islamization of Europe and the refugee crisis play in this vote?
I think the second more than the first, but they kind of connect with each other, right? The second one made the first one much more dramatic. The second one, meaning the whole Islamic tide in Europe, and which is much more out of control than in the United States. I think that made the immigration issue a much more dramatic issue. All you have to do is go to London, go to Paris, and just walk around the streets, and you can see a major difference in the Paris and London of today and the Paris and London of 5 years ago. And also, I know that the number of terrorist threats in Paris and London are much greater than in the United States. And at least the security people there know it, and I think the people of the country feel it. And I think that had a lot to do with it. And then I think all of a sudden, when it happened here in the United States, where we have a much more integrated Islamic population, I think that really made a very, very big difference. I also think President Obama opening his mouth helped a lot here, because they don't trust President Obama. I don't think they trust him. I think the same thing in Israel.
I'm laughing.
I was just in Israel, and, you know, people who are very close to Bibi Netanyahu basically told me, you know, to thank President Obama for helping to reelect him.
Well, do you think is this a predictor of things to come?
I believe it is.
In November, because that tide will continue here.
I believe here, and I think you're going to see other European nations start to weigh this whole issue of, are we better off with a little more separation and a little bit more like the way we do it in the States. You know, we have this wonderful idea of states' rights. So we can do it a little bit different in Texas than in, actually a lot different in Texas than in New York, a lot different in Florida than in California. And it creates an ability for us to remain together because we have these differences. And I think the EU was cutting that off for these European nations.
All right. Will you work for Donald Trump if he asks you and offers you a job?
Well, I don't know about offering me a job and wanting to leave my own job, which I love so much, but I certainly am for Donald Trump. I think Hillary Clinton would be a massive disaster, possibly the worst mistake America ever made.
I think Obama was, but yeah, I think she'd be a continuation of that mistake.
I think following Obama, she'd be the worst mistake. Maybe not following Obama, but following Obama, she'd be the worst mistake.
All right. Thank you. Mayor Rudy Giuliani, thank you.